Video, but Lord willing, I'll bring out some information on the Carthaginians being Israelites. But a punic isn't really a real term. That's what the scholars call it. The real word there is supposed to be Hebrew. Alright, but I'll bring it out in another series, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai willing. Alright. It says, Severus entered the Senate in about 173, became governor of Gallia, Lugdunensis, and Sicily, and then in the last years of Commodus, consul in 190 and governor of Upper Pannonia. After the brief reign of Pertinax and the accession of Didius Julianus in 193, he was saluted emperor by his legions at Carnuntum, while Pessinus Niger was similarly acclaimed in the east. The Praetorian Guard in the capital proved susceptible to Severus's approaches, and Didius Julianus, sentenced to death by the Senate, was murdered in his deserted palace. Severus advanced rapidly on Rome, entering the city after insignificant resistance. On arrival, he disbanded the entire Praetorian Guard, replacing it by a force twice the size drawn from the legions. Alright. Page 112. Page 112. There's an interesting fact. It says the pagan religion, that is to say, was changing, but so were the social lives of the peoples of the empire. So what's the title of this video? It's called The Fall of the Pagan Roman Empire. You know, so basically the fall of the Edomite Roman Empire. Right? Down here it says John Malalas, writing 4 centuries later, observed that Severus was dark-skinned, and African history books today depict him as black. But dark though his complexion may well have been, Malalas should not be too much relied upon. See, this guy was a Jake scholar, and what these Edomites say, you shouldn't rely upon this guy because he says he's black. You know, these damn devils. For example, another of his statements that Severus had a long nose is unmistakably wrong, for portraits showed that his nose was short and slightly retrousse. His hair and beard were curly. He was small of stature but strong and energetic. Now this part is interesting. But to speak of him as the founder of a Semitic or African dynasty, or as the deliberate barbarizer of the army is erroneous. He belonged to a cosmopolitan elite imbued with Roman ideas and ideals, and so did the Africans whom he promoted around him. So why in the hell all of a sudden did he mention Semitic? I thought he was African. Why all of a sudden you're mentioning about his nose and his skin color? Why would you mention Semitic out of nowhere, out of the blue? Because the white man does that. What he does, he puts the truth in plain sight, but he makes it look crazy. And then see, you have parentheses. In the parentheses you have or African. That's an add-on. The white man had to say no. I gotta say African. I can't say Semitic, because Semitic means Israelite dynasty. That's what he established. He established an Israelite dynasty. It tells you that he got rid of the Praetorian Guard, and he established his own elite legion. Alright, now I want to also read about this emperor right here, Pessinus Niger, just some information, because he was an Israelite as well, but you know, the lot wasn't given to him. You know, but showing another Israelite high up in the rank. So Pessinus Niger, rival emperor in the east, was born in about 135 of a family of Italian knights. So that means he was an Edomite, right? Because he was an Italian knight. No, you dummies. His name was Pessinus Niger. And back then, when you had a title of Niger, it's because your skin was black. Alright? So his family was of Italian knights. Brought into the Senate by Commodus, he fought against the Sarmatians in Dacia in 183. He obtained consulship. Niger became governor of Syria. Alright? Now let's see what color he was. You know? Niggas always say, oh, Italian knights, white people. Page 114, it says Pessinus Niger records the Historia Augusta with dubious reliability once more. It says He was tall in stature and handsome of person, his hair being brushed back gracefully towards the crown. His voice was raucous but resonant, so that when he spoke on the parade ground, he could be heard a mile away if the wind was not against him. His face was dignified and always ruddy. You see these damn devils? Ruddy, but hey, like the Elder Ithan and the elders always bring out ruddy. That doesn't mean that, man. The brother Kratos, I made a lesson on that too. Ruddy don't mean red. It actually means dark. It means brown. The white man got something called new speak or new speech, where he changes words from the original meaning. An example of that is the word gay. It used to mean happy. Now you associate it with homosexuality. Alright? But ruddy means brown. Alright? His neck was so black. Because how's his face ruddy and then his neck black? What does that mean? How does that make sense? His neck was so black that according to what many say, he got the name of Niger from that. Okay? So that's some information right there. Alright, so this is called Ancient Rome, from the Republic to the Empire. Alright. By Duncan Hill. Okay. Let's go to page 186. Give you some more information. It says Severus. It says Severus first concluded an expedient peace with Albinus to secure the west while he went to war with Niger in the east. By giving Albinus the consulatory title Caesar, Severus hinted that he would appoint Albinus as his heir. This place sated Albinus, who agreed not to declare his own imperial ambitions, giving Severus a free hand to deal with Niger in the east. Niger was quickly defeated and killed at the Battle of Issus in 194 AD. It says in 196, confident of his power in the east, Severus then turned his attention to the west, when he reneged on his unwritten understanding with Albinus by appointing his own son as heir. Albinus advanced only as far as Lugdunum, Lyon, where Severus had come out to meet him. The resulting battle was closely fought, but Albinus was murdered, leaving Severus as the unchallenged ruler. Okay, the unchallenged ruler of the Roman world. So he was the unchallenged ruler of the Roman world, man. Alright. Now let's go here. Alright. Cities in the Sand by Aubrey Menon. Alright. Page 137. It says, when Septimius neared Rome, the Senate sent a delegation of 100 senators to welcome him, as well as to find out what sort of emperor their new master intended to be. Septimius soon showed them. Before they could deliver any of the fine speeches they had composed, he surrounded them with his bodyguards. Then he had them search for arms. After they had made their speeches, he humiliated them in a second and more subtle way. He dismissed them with a handsome cash present for each senator. The episode is highly significant. Throughout his reign, he was to base himself on two things: soldiers and money. It was a successful policy. The provincial from Leptis understood Rome to perfection. Other emperors had shown their contempt for the Senate. Septimius' next step was unique. It changed the history of the Roman Empire. All right. He summoned the Praetorian Guard, the body of men who had become accustomed to making and breaking emperors. He told them to assemble outside Rome, the field in the city where martial exercises were held. He also ordered them to leave their arms and armor in their camp, exactly as he had done with the senators. He surrounded them with his own hardened troops. As they stood there, not knowing whether they would be cut to pieces any minute, he read them a lecture. He rebuked them for not doing their duty. Their job was to protect the emperor, but Pertinax had been killed. If we are to believe the historians, the Praetorians, each man of whom knew perfectly well that it was they who had caused the murder, were abashed. Septimius ordered them to be stripped of their insignia, and he banished them from Rome. Hard as it is to credit, it was an emotional scene. The men who had bargained away the empire wept as Septimius's stern words. There was even more emotion when Septimius took away their horses. One horse refused to leave his master. The animal doggedly followed him till the guard drew his sword, killed his horse, and then killed himself. This, I'm going to jump down here. It says, Septimius rode to Rome in the full panoply of the cavalry armor and all. Once arrived, he dismounted, changed into civilian attire, and entered the city on foot. The citizens ate up the charade. There was cheering and chants. People held one another up to see the new hero. You know, like the brothers made that series, Israelite Heroes, Septimius Severus. Alright, so the people held up one another up to see the new hero. They had to, since he was on foot, and they applauded the soldiers who followed him. These, however, were armed to the teeth. The show continued with Septimius presenting himself to the Senate. He deplored the way that his predecessors had freely cut down members of that august body at their will. He instructed one senator, Julius Salone, to draw up a decree that the emperor could not kill a senator for whatever reasons without the Senate's consent. Not long afterward, he ordered Julius Salone to be murdered. Later on, he was to put 25 senators to death. So Septimius was killing the senators. He said, to hell with this empire, man. You know, and here's another sculpture of Septimius Severus. Alright. Page 141. It says, the man from Leptus destroyed at a blow one of the Romans' most cherished privileges. By doing this, he won himself a place in history as the man who began the decline and fall of the empire, meaning the white man's empire. Until his reign, the Praetorian Guard had always been recruited from among Romans or from provinces that they had thoroughly Romanized: Spain, Macedonia, Noricum. Septimius abolished this distinction. He made the Praetorian Guard open to any good soldier, even if he were an utter barbarian, and barbarians often made excellent fighters. He made it a reward for distinguished services on the field. He increased the pay. He allowed the new guards to wear gold rings and even to live with their wives. He quadrupled their number. With this band of dedicated military, he meant to rule. They vowed allegiance to him, not to Rome. They were the elite of the army, but they were not Roman in their ways, their thinking, or their loyalties. They dismayed the citizens with their uncouth manners, their harsh speech, the refusal to do in Rome as the Romans did, like homosexuality. These guys weren't faggots. Septimius at a stroke had reduced the masters of the earth to the level of the races they had conquered. I'm gonna read that again, man. That's some heavy stuff right there. Septimius at a stroke, man. At a stroke. Septimius Severus means cutter of seven. It says that he wounded the head as they were wounded to death. So Septimius at a stroke, at one stroke, man, had reduced the masters of the earth. Who's the masters of the earth, man? Who's controlling the earth? The white man. So Septimius at a stroke had reduced the masters of the earth to the level of the races they had conquered, meaning slaves, man. He put the masters of the earth as slaves. Alright?